everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for a Heartstopper Inspired Tag. So, for anyone that doesn't know, I fell completely head over heels in love with Heartstopper when it came out in April. I have watched the TV show more times than I care to admit. I have since purchased and have read all of the graphic novels. I've also caught up with where Alice Oseman is up to with the 5th graphic novel on Webtoons. So I decided that it would be really fun to do a tag that is inspired by Heartstopper. It's a little bit of a different tag from what we booktubers might be used to, in that you can do either of two things. So I have a series of questions around some of the different aspects of Heartstopper that I absolutely love. You can answer the question by saying books that you think fulfill the prompt, or you can answer questions by saying TV shows or movies that you think fulfill the prompts, or you could do both. That's entirely up to you. This is an original tag that I created because I really love Heartstopper, as I just said, and I really wanted to talk about all the things that I think are amazing about Heartstopper. A few of those things center around the representation that appears in Heartstopper. So obviously Nick and Charlie, the main characters in Heartstopper, are two queer boys in high school, but there is a bunch of other representation from the LGBTQIA+, but also in terms of people of colour and people with different needs and mental health rep and all sorts of things like that. Before I get into the actual meat of the tag, or in fact do the tag myself, I just wanted to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is talking about these different representations when you do not identify within those particular groups that the representation is talking about. As you can see, I am white, I am a cis woman, I am straight. So I just wanted to talk about that elephant because I love the show. I love the show because of all the representation that is in the show. I think that it's done masterfully on all the different levels, in all the different ways, from all the different representations for all the different groups that it does touch on. And I think that Alice Oseman, who originally wrote the series, and all the people that worked on the TV series should be commended for that. They've done an amazing job. But as a cis white heterosexual woman, I do think that it's really important to seek out own voices reviewers, to seek out the word of the people who actually are part of these different groups, who actually do need their voices heard, because they don't fit into the oppressors, for want of a better way of putting it, group. They don't fit into what is considered to be the majority, all of that. So I have spoken to a few different people who identify in various different ways about whether it was okay for me to make this tag, and they have said that they think that it would be fine, partly because I am drawing attention to various different things that are amazing representations. I have made sure to choose things to fit into the various questions where they talk about representation. I've made sure to choose things that I have heard from members of those communities that they consider it to be good rep. So I just wanted to put it out there that it is really important to me that I am not making something out of something that I don't have a part to. I do think that one of the things about Heartstopper that is so amazing is that it brings a certain sense of normality to those various different things that is lacking in a lot of situations. So I think that that's really important, and I think it's done in such a way that it is something that is supposed to be shared with LGBTQIA+ people, but also people who do not identify as LGBTQIA+, so that they can see queer joy, queer love, queer happiness. So yeah. Please do comment below if you do have an issue with me making this tag, because like I said, I do have a couple of different prompts that are about some of the representation. Obviously, please do be kind. I am not attempting to upset anyone or hurt anyone. I really do want to be told if it has done, but it's very much not my intention. So please be productive about the way you say things, but please do approach me if there's something that you think I need to be made aware of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and share all of my questions. Then I'm going to go through and answer all of the questions. I personally am going to answer the questions with both a book and a TV show for each of the questions. Like I said before, you can do either or both if you wish to. And then I'm going to tag some people at the end. I've got quite a few different people in mind that I want to tag specifically, but obviously if you are not one of those people but you wish to do the tag, please feel free to do so. That would be amazing. But again, please make sure that you are finding out about the rep, making sure that it is considered to be good rep, that it is doing its job well, that it is, respectful, all of that sort of thing. So seek out own voices for those things where it is talking about representation of various different minority groups, please. So I have my computer here. I will be looking down for some of the prompts and so on. Okay. So the first prompt that I have here is for LGBTQIA+rep, because Heartstopper has such amazing LGBTQIA+rep in it. I wanted to make that the first prompt, and I want you to mention a book and or TV show or movie that you think has excellent LGBTQIA+rep in it, as well as Heartstopper. So that's prompt number 1. All of these prompts will be in the description below if you want to do the tag, by the way. The next prompt is other forms of fantastic rep. So, like I said before, I do think that Heartstopper has absolutely fantastic representation for people who identify as being LGBTQIA+, but I also think that it has absolutely fantastic rep for people of colour, for people with mental health issues. Not so much the TV show so far, but it comes in later in the comics, so it will, I assume, come in later in the TV show, and various different other forms of rep for different groups who aren't represented in mainstream media all that often, or well. So, name a book / TV show or movie that you think also has other fantastic forms of rep, whether that be, like I said, for people of colour, for neurodiversity, for mental or physical health rep, whatever it might be. So those are the 2 questions where I do think it's really important to seek out own voices reviews to make sure that you are talking about something that actually has good rep in it and that is done well and respectfully. Then we're moving into some other questions that I think go with Heartstopper. So, next up we have romance. At its core, Heartstopper is a romance between Nick and Charlie. So, for this question, you need to name a book or TV show or movie that you think has a great romantic plot or subplot. Heartstopper is a young adult series of graphic novels and a young adult TV show. So, for this prompt, please name a young adult book or movie or TV show that you think represents teenagers and the teenage experience really well. One of the things that I absolutely loved about both the graphic novel series but also and particularly the TV show was that it had really believable characters who were believably teenagers. Particularly the actors were all quite young and therefore believably teenagers, which I thought was really, really fantastic. So that's why I've chosen this prompt as well. Next up is graphic novels. Obviously, it all started by Alice Oseman creating some amazing graphic novels on webtoons, which have since been published traditionally. So, recommend a fantastic graphic novel or manga or comic, or if you don't know any because you just don't read those, a book with absolutely beautiful illustrations, or a fantastic cartoon or anime. And the last 2 questions are to do with the 2 main characters, Nick and Charlie. So the first one says, Nick Nelson. Nick is a lovable golden retriever. So, name a character that you think is also a lovable, gentle, sweet, and has all-round puppy energy. And then finally, Charlie Spring. Charlie Spring is a very sweet, quite shy, but very popular at the same time, nerdy, anxious kind of boy. So, name someone who is quite similar to Charlie Spring. A shy, nerdy boy. sweet, shy nerd. Those are all the prompts. Like I said, they are in the description below if you want to go and do this tag yourself. Now I'm going to do the tag myself as well. So, first up is LGBTQIA+. So, I actually have a few for this. So the first book that I have is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. I have seen quite a few different people who identify as being LGBTQIA+, say that they think this is absolutely fantastic rep. For me, it seemed very well representative. It seemed like it was basically just a love story that happened to be between two women, which I thought was fantastic. There is no major issue with any of the characters who are LGBTQIA+. There is nothing to suggest that there is any reason why that is not okay. It is merely talking about characters who are LGBTQIA+, and the two main characters who have a sapphic romance with each other. I just think it's absolutely beautiful, really well written, lots of fun, and definitely fits for this prompt. The next one that I have here is The Flames of Albion by Jean Menzies. Again, something that I've heard from a variety of different own voices reviewers, that this is done really, really well and really respectfully. One of the things that I like about this one so much, and that I've heard other people say as well, is that it's, again, all just very normal. There's no kind of like, oh no, am I having these feelings for this other woman? There's nothing that suggests that anything is odd or concerning. It's just, I'm interested in this woman and now I'm having a relationship with her, which I thought was done really, really well. So it just normalizes it completely, just like Delilah Green Doesn't Care, and it's just part of the plot, and it's just, that's the romance that happens. No big thing, basically. So those are the two books. Now, I do have a TV show that I'm going to mention, although I have heard from a few different people who are LGBTQIA+, that this isn't particularly great rep. So, I'm going to mention it anyway because it was one of the first times where I saw an LGBTQIA+ relationship that, again, initially, in any case, was fairly normalised and was really, I thought, done really well, that just had these two women who formed a connection and ended up forming a relationship, and that's just how it happened. There was a little bit of conversation around one of the characters' friends being surprised, but it all was fine. It wasn't a big deal. Everyone was happy with that. And that is Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which features Willow and Tara. Most people agree that the initial relationship between Willow and Tara is all of those things. It's respectful, it's well done, it's normal, it's etc. It's later when Tara dies and Willow has all sorts of issues and gets into another relationship that some less respectful and less great rep starts to happen. So I wanted to mention it because it was one of the first of its kind that I remember seeing. That was a show that wasn't specifically an LGBTQIA+ show. That was sort of more mainstream but happened to have an LGBTQIA+ relationship. I wanted to mention that, but I wanted to say that I have heard from a number of different Own Voices reviewers that the later seasons kind of basically destroy everything that happened with Willow and Tara, which is really awful and really sad and makes me really upset because it's one of my favourite shows. But yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. The next TV show that I have is Our Flag Means Death. So this is a TV show about pirates, and most of them, if not all of them, are gay. And it's really fun, it's really funny, and I just think it's fantastic rep. I've heard from, again, a number of different people who identify as LGBTQIA+, that it is fantastic rep, that it's really, really respectful, that it is just done incredibly well. So yeah, that's the other TV show that I wanted to mention. Then I have the prompt for great rep, so rep for other circumstances that is not talking about LGBTQIA+ rep. So I have chosen, again, 2 books and 2 TV shows for this one. So the first book that I've chosen is Get a Life, Chloe Brown. So this is a book by Talia Hibbert. Talia Hibbert is a Black author, and Chloe, the main character, is a Black main character, and I just think it's fantastic. I think it's really well written. I really enjoyed it, and I think that it just has some really great representation. Again, something that I've heard from a number of Own Voices reviewers, that it is wonderful representation and that it's fantastic seeing Talia Hibbert, a Black author, doing incredibly well with this trilogy, which is, this is the first one of. the Brown Sisters trilogy, starting with Get a Life, Chloe Brown. The next book that I have wanted to mention is Like a Charm by Elle McNichol. So the main character of this book has dyspraxia. I don't know a huge amount about dyspraxia, to be perfectly honest. I know that it affects musculature and also affects certain brain functions, but I don't know a huge amount about it. I really enjoyed the book and the way that the character was represented. I have heard really great things from others who have different types of neurodiversity, that it's really, really fantastic. Elle McNichol is lauded as being one of the best autistic authors. When I say that, I mean that Elle McNichol has autism, but also her characters who have autism are incredibly well done, and she's lauded as writing fantastic autistic rep. And so I feel pretty comfortable and confident saying that the dyspraxia representation in this is fantastic as well. It's a middle grade story, it is fantasy, it's just brilliant. Then I wanted to talk about the TV show Bridgerton. So this is a TV show that was adapted into a show from a series of novels. I don't know about the novels, I've not read them, I don't know what the rep in that is. I have to be completely honest, I haven't seen a huge amount of Own Voices reviewers talking about this one, which means that I need to go and look more closely rather than because it's not out there, because I'm sure that people have talked about it. But what I personally liked about it is that it is Regency England and many of the nobles are people of colour. This is including the Queen. This is not remarked upon in any way, it's just normal, and I really appreciate that. I think it's fantastic and really well done. So that's why I wanted to mention it. And the final TV show that I want to mention for this is First Kill. So this is a TV show where we have two main characters, one is black, one is white. One is a vampire, one is a vampire hunter, and they develop a romance. They're both women, so it's sapphic, so it has LGBTQIA+rep, as well as having a really tough, really strong black main character, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. This is one that I've heard a lot of fantastic reviews about from Own Voices reviewers, both people of colour and also people who consider themselves LGBTQIA+. So I'm very comfortable saying that I think that this has fantastic rep. Okay, moving into romance. So, a book and TV show that I think has a great romantic plot or a great romantic subplot. I chose a book that is basically pretty much just flat out a romance, and that is The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. This is Beth O'Leary's first novel. I thought it was absolutely wonderful, beautifully written, really, really enjoyed it, lots of fun, and just a fantastic romance, I think. Particularly because I think the male main character, both the characters are beautiful, really well done, but the male main character is just such a fantastic, loving character, and I really enjoyed that. And then I actually wrote The Haunting of Bly Manor for my TV show, which may seem like a little bit of a strange choice given that it is a horror, but there is a romantic subplot which is between the au pair and the gardener, but the two of them obviously meet while Danny is the nanny at Bly Manor, and they develop a connection and then they end up being in a relationship throughout the rest of their lives, which I thought was just an absolutely beautiful romance. They are very connected to each other, they have great communication, they obviously love each other very much, and I just think it's fantastically well done and just a really healthy, functioning romance between two women who obviously care very deeply for each other. So I wanted to put that in as my romance TV show, even though it's actually a horror. Then we have YA. So, for a fantastic novel that I think represents teenageness really, really well, I actually have a few, and they're pretty much all of the books written by John Green. I think he does a really great job of representing teenage characters. It's really believable that they're teenagers, they experience a lot of the issues that teenagers experience, and their voices sound very young and very, just very believably teenage voices. And then for the TV show, oddly enough, I'm actually going to go back to something that's been around for years and years and years and years and years, and that is Home and Away. This is an Australian soap opera. I know people in the UK will definitely know what I'm talking about, but I don't know about people in the US. Anyway, it's a TV show, soap opera that's been going on, I don't even know how long, since I was born, since I was a child. I think I started watching it when I was like 8 or something like that, 35 years ago. I believe it may have ended recently. It's been a long time since I actually watched it. But same again with Heartstopper. The teenagers are very young. I don't know whether any of them are actually teenagers, but they're certainly in their very late teens, like adult teens, if that makes sense, 18, 19, and or very early 20s. So they always had people who were actually looked like the characters were supposed to look like. They also had very young, not very young, but they also had young actors who played younger roles as well, which I just think is really, really important and really good. So it was very believable that they were teenagers. So that was Home and Away. Then we have graphic novels, because of course originally Heartstopper was a graphic novel. So for this one you need to talk about either a graphic novel, manga or comic, or an anime or cartoon. So I of course have both. So I have a graphic novel which I've read recently. I read the trilogy. I absolutely love them. I talk about them quite a lot, and that is Stand Still, Stay Silent by Mina Sonberg. This is a post-apocalyptic series set in Finland, and yeah, I just think it's beautiful artwork, really engaging story, and really fantastic all around. And then I chose Avatar: The Last Airbender as my anime because it's one of my favourite shows. It's fantastic. One of the best, if not the best, villain arc that I have ever seen. Just beautifully well done. Just a fantastic show all around. Lots of fun. Great rep as well, and just wonderful. You should watch it. Alright, then we move into the 2 character prompts. So first up we have Nick Nelson, who is, of course, the lovable golden retriever. So a character who is lovable, gentle, sweet, and has all-round puppy energy. For this one, I have chosen Ryder from Only When It's Us by Chloe Leese. I just loved Ryder. I thought that he had some issues he was dealing with, but I thought he had such lovely, lovable, fun, bouncing energy. Definitely made me think of the whole puppy energy, and I just think that he's such a kind, caring character. I really, really like him as a character. Yeah, definitely think he suits the Nick Nelson Golden Retriever energy. And then finally the prompt is Charlie Spring. So Charlie is a shy, nerdy boy. Mention a shy, nerdy boy. For this one, I'm actually going back to The Flatshare by Beth O'Leary. I mean, there are so many books that I've read and I could mention so many, but I do really think that Leon has the same kind of shy boy, but really smart, really well read, but really likable, really lovable energy as Charlie. So I'm going to say Leon from The Flatshare. So those are all the prompts, those are all my answers, that's the tag. I really hope you like it. Obviously, like I said before, please feel free to do the tag if you want to do the tag. I hope that you do. So now the last thing I need to do is tag some people. I did check with all of these people, by the way. So the first person that I'm going to tag is Kaz from Cats and Camera. I know that she absolutely loves Heartstopper as a TV show and a novel, so I think that she would really appreciate this tag. Then I have Ashley from Ashley's Media Addiction. So as the name suggests, Ashley's channel is not just about books, it's about TV show and movies as well. So I thought that Ashley would be perfect as a person to do this tag, and she's totally keen. Then I have Victoria from What Victoria Read, because again, I know that she absolutely loves Heartstopper. I thought that she would be really keen to do the tag. Then we have Paige from Pages with Paige. Paige is also really keen to do the tag. Again, I checked with her as well. She loves both. Then I have Lana from Lauren Lullabies and Ellie from Earl Grey Books. I know that they just basically want to do the tag because they like me, so thank you guys so much. And then the final person that I want to tag is Eric from Break Even Books. I know that Eric absolutely loves the graphic novels and the TV show as well. I know that Eric is keen to do this tag also because again I asked him and he said yes. So you are tagged Eric as well. And that's it. That's the end of the video. So let me know in the comments below what you think of the tag. Hopefully you appreciate it, you like it. I hope that I have answered all of the glaring elephant in the room questions about Own Voices reviews, and I hope that you appreciate that and that therefore you're okay with the tag and that you are keen to do the tag. Please let me know if you are keen to do the tag. Please comment that below as well. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me some kind of leaf emoji because Heartstopper is all about the leaves. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.